Welcome everybody to Service Drive Revolution. We have an exciting show for you today. And we have a very special guest, the head of our salvation department here at our little company, Chris Collins Inc., the beautiful Miss Sylvia.
Good morning.
How are you?
Fantastic. How are you?
I'm great. So today we are going to answer your questions. I don't really ever look at the comments on YouTube or Facebook. I am on Instagram more than anything else, but people do post questions on there quite often. Mm-hmm. And so Sylvia has gone to the trouble of pulling those questions, and we're going to answer those today. I'm assuming some of them are pretty good. I don't really know much about them, but you seem pretty excited. So yeah, they're good questions.
I think that the folks that are asking the questions are going to be excited that you're answering them.
Yeah, and you're going to give them a little shout out too.
Little shout out. For sure.
And then maybe we'll go back in and tell them in there that we answered the questions on Service Drive Revolution. So that is going to be our big topic today. We have a couple other things that we want to get to. I saw an interview last month with Roger Penske at the Detroit Auto Show that just made my skin crawl, and I want to talk about that. Although Roger is an icon in his industry, I have a bone to pick with him, and we're going to address that. We're also going to talk about why people think that I'm your sugar daddy.
Yeah, all the time. It's
or
the number
your
one
daddy.
Question I get.
Is it your sugar daddy or your daddy?
The number one question I get from friends on social is, do you date Chris? Like, is he your husband? Why is he buying you nice things?
Why is he buying you a car?
Car, handbag, Louis Vuitton.
We're gonna address that.
Yeah, we got to clear the air.
Well, it's not really clearing the air.
The real truth.
There's a reason for everything. Everything has intention. But first, let's start off with the winners of our comp. So we have a competition that we do every month. It's tracked by this fancy software we built, and we call it the Top Dog Underground. Mm-hmm. And it charts service advisors across different makes and service managers. And so the service advisors are graded on 5 or 6 different categories: their total sales, their CSI, their customer pay sales, how many wild cards they sell, which is alignments and different things. And then managers are graded on their average performance of their advisors in the overall competition. It's very fun, and we want to give shout outs to the winners. Now, the advisors have aliases in there, and so they have nicknames, which makes it even a little more fun, and there's a little psychology to that. So I think one of the funniest names in there is Late for Lunch. Yeah, so they get to pick their nicknames in there. And we have an American group, we have a Highline group, we have an import group, different groups. So it's fair because, a Ford dealership wouldn't compete with a Mercedes dealership. And on. So at the top of our list in the winners for last month, who do we have? Vanna, Sylvia?
Very, very exciting. So we have the American group. And no surprise here, King Joe from Florida, Joe Mack, took first as usual.
He's hard to beat.
Hard to beat. He's been service manager there a few years in a row. And number one advisor for the American comp is Uncle Rich. I think he's
Good
from
job,
Utah.
Uncle Rich.
Yeah, get it, Uncle Rich, going after those top dog advisors and beating them out. And I think he's relatively new to the group.
Wow, coming in strong.
Yeah, seriously. Given
that's no joke, because there's hundreds of advisors in there. So if you're coming in and winning, that's some skills.
Especially in the American comp, that's a big group. And in the Japanese comp, we have a female manager taking it, Heindel from Pennsylvania.
Congratulations.
I think that I said her nickname right. Miss Holly. And the number one advisor there is Jay Willie. And you know where you're from. And then in the Highline competition, which is BMW, Mercedes, in that group, we have our top dogs from Chicago, Monster. And Monster's assistant manager's nickname is Checked Out. I just saw that.
You won with that.
We just started giving the managers nicknames.
There's got to be a psychological effect to having your nickname being checked out.
Jeez.
Late for lunch, I understand, but checked out.
So I don't know if we need to have an intervention in Chicago.
What's Eric's nickname? Monster?
Yeah, you just said his name.
Maybe I know.
Yeah, Monster.
But maybe Monster gave him the nickname because he's not very fast. Like he's checked out.
Well, if he's not drinking
Daydreamer.
Monster like Monster, you know why he has that nickname, because he drinks a ton of Monster.
Well, congratulations,
Yeah.
Monster, and checked
Monster
out
and checked
on
out.
a great win.
And at the same store, killing it, owning first in all areas. They actually, Hustle Bucks, the advisors from that same store in Illinois, dominating the comp. And I'm just going to skip right
It's
over
kind
to
of hitter's row of advisors there. There's some talent.
Seriously, they work really hard there. And then, so on the, I'm going to jump down to import because Monster and Checked Out also took first for the mini category. So they won in the import Highline too. The first place advisor in the import Highline category is New Spock, down from San Diego. And then we have not last but not least. So we have the European comp. First place also from Chicago, same dealer group, kind of killing it. Mr. Vector.
Good job, Mr. Vector.
Seriously. Hard to beat too. He kind of dominates that group all the time. And first place advisor from the same store is Hailstorm. I like that. And she's a she.
Coming in.
Okay.
As a hailstorm.
Yeah. And last but not least, our friends up north of the border, we have Maverick from Alberta taking first, and service advisor from a Honda store up in that area, Roadrunner. That's exciting. Congratulations to all the winners.
Kind of fun.
Of the comp. Yeah. That was
Keep it
January.
going, you guys. So we will keep that going. We'll announce the winners every month. So next month we'll announce the winners from February, which is kind of wrapping up, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So Roger Penske. What do you think about Roger Penske? Never mind. It doesn't matter what you think of Roger Penske.
I'm a little nervous that we're going to go here because we work with this group.
Oh yeah. It doesn't mean we can't tell the truth.
Okay.
Does it?
That's true.
Okay. What is the climate right now, Sylvia, in the automotive industry?
It's changing.
It's changing
faster than we know.
No kidding.
Yeah.
It's changing. Really.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Is our car sales down?
Yes.
Yeah. Our inventory is piling up?
Yes.
Yeah. Is the most important department in the dealership service?
I would say so.
Why doesn't Roger say that? So here's an interview that was on Bloomberg that we're going to play. He doesn't say anything about service. The future of the automotive industry is fixed ops. We're going to go into a recession pretty soon. I don't know if it's going to be in a week. I don't know if it's going to be in 2 years, but we're going to go into a recession.
Right.
And what happens when we go into a recession? After years and years of economic growth and, success and big egos and the whole thing, what happens? Fixed ops becomes the most important thing that there is. But he doesn't say that.
We get really busy.
I feel like he's talking about stock prices here, and he's pumping that up, but he's losing perspective on what really is important.
Can you tell us about the state of the U.S. consumer when it comes to buying automobiles?
Well, I think when I look at the consumer today, and we're coming off a 17.3 million SAR in the automobile business, which is a strong year, and we felt that momentum already going into the first quarter. But the economy, we have different economists saying good or bad. I think particularly we have low unemployment. We certainly have strong credit availability, and with all the new models coming out, I think is very positive for us. I think electrification, though, is really the buzz here at the show, maybe not autonomous as far as I'm concerned.
Well, it is the buzz, without a question. Everybody's talking about electric vehicles, and in part, how much money has to be invested in order to make that conversion. You talk to GM, you talk to Ford. Does the consumer want electric vehicles, or are we really sort of foisting it on them?
I think you're saying the electrification going to be at the premium luxury side. When you look at e-tron coming from Audi, you got
nothing. And the interview goes on, and he's we're going to buy more stores, and he's very excited about the automotive industry as a whole. Nothing about the fact that the most important thing is your fixed ops and how that's running. The most important thing is fixed absorption. And everybody I'm talking to, that's what they're worried about. All the dealers that grew and have been growing, the most important thing to them right now is fixed absorption. They're planning for that rainy day that's coming, but no, that isn't what the PR is. It's amazing to me. I don't understand why we're telling a different narrative. And I know you're really nervous because you're like, I want to sell Penske service advisor training.
I'm going to get a phone call after this.
No, it's true though. I don't understand. Like if anybody wants to argue that the most important thing with inventories piling up and car sales, we're estimated to lose almost 1 million units a year. There's this perfect storm of millennials aren't buying cars, but millennials are coming into their biggest spending years. They're affluent. They have money to spend. You have people moving to cities. So Uber, those sort of solutions. There's all these things that are going on in our industry that tell you that the future is not new car sales. The future is fixed ops and servicing, because cars are still going to break, but it's just not sexy.
Right.
For some reason, nobody's making service sexy. How can we make service sexy, Sylvia? We need to make it sexy.
I don't know. I think it'd be fantastic if Roger would come on and let us interview him for this show.
What if we did a calendar of service managers in like tool belts on toolboxes?
I have a couple I'm sure that would volunteer.
Yeah. What if we
Make it sexy?
What if we took the winners from our comp every month and we did a pinup calendar of our service managers? Would that make it sexy?
I think so.
No.
I think I can think of a few very trim service managers.
By the way, everybody, Sylvia's single, so
yes, single and ready to mingle.
Don't you're not allowed to date our customers.
I know.
Yeah. So I have some facts here that only 24% of 16-year-olds are getting licenses compared to when we were kids.
Right.
46%. It's down half.
I was so excited to start driving when I was 16.
Kids are saying they don't have time for driver's ed. It's too expensive to own and insure a car, and it's too easy to just get a ride. Isn't that crazy?
That's nuts.
Why aren't we talking about that, you guys? The industry's going to change, and fixed ops needs to be the most important thing. And so you got to learn how to have high fixed absorption. You got to learn pricing strategies. You got to have the best advisors that are trained on how to connect with customers. Your asset as a service department is your relationship with your customers.
Absolutely.
Because customers aren't loyal anymore. If they're not loyal to the service department, and if your advisors aren't connecting with them on a deeper level, then that's where you're going to come into not being able to obtain the fixed absorption that you need to have. I know people say that we have the new stuff when it comes to service advisor training, but the truth is our stuff is it's the old stuff wrapped in a new package, because it's about people.
Very simple.
It's about connecting with people, treating them like humans, not like a number, not running people through like Southwest Airlines in a big cattle call. And so you got to work on your systems, and we have the best advisor training and service manager training out there. And we're in an industry where service managers don't get training. They're handed down bad habits from the manager they worked for, but there's no, university for service managers.
It's not
we call our manager training service manager university. But there isn't, you can't go to a major college and major in service manager, right?
Right. And I think you say it a lot, and we talk about it a lot when we work with advisors, that it's their job to hold on to the customers. And what is the life cycle of a customer every 5 years? They're buying a new car. Is that still an accurate stat, you think?
It's climbing, but I don't know that it was quite 5 years.
Thought it was 5 years.
But the average car on the road is 10 plus years and growing.
Yeah.
So that grows all the time. Okay. Before we talk about me being your sugar daddy, do you want to ask me one of those questions?
Okay. So our first question is from YouTube that came in off of one of your videos. And it says, I'd like to hear some stories of customers that are just insane and there is no way to talk them down. I have a few, and with one of them, I had to call the cops. Sounds exciting.
That's less of a question and more of a statement, really.
Really?
But do you have a story? The spirit of the question?
He says,
how
I'd like to hear
difficult
some stories.
Customers?
I think so, but he's also wanting just some stories of customers that are insane. Do you have any?
The customers or the advisors? Most of the time I don't know. I come from a world of the customer's always right. And so, there's ways to handle customers. We have a whole module in our advisor training on how to handle difficult customers. So you should send this person an email and they should get on our advisor training. But I don't know. I've seen advisors throw customers into windows. I've seen them get in physical fights with customers, but I've never gotten to that point. But I think the mistake that advisors make is that they want to be right.
Right.
And so there's no award for being right,
Right.
but there are awards for listening and making the customer feel heard and understood more, more than anything. But I had an advisor that I used to work with who's a big boy too. And he actually threw a customer into a window and broke the window. The customer didn't go through the window, but the window shattered, but it had heavy plastic on it. So it broke into 1,000 pieces. But yeah, and he didn't get fired for it either. That's the kind of place I was working at.
That's insane.
I would have fired him on the spot.
Yeah. Why? Did he have naked pictures of someone?
Why do you assume they had naked pictures?
It's the only reason why someone doesn't get fired when they should.
Oh, maybe, yeah. He had naked pictures of the boss?
Yeah.
Maybe, but he eventually got fired for something else. But I don't know. I think that one they wrote him up. But yeah, I don't know.
That's nuts.
Okay, so that's one. I've seen customers drive their cars through. I saw a customer drive a car through the front of a dealership once.
On purpose?
No,
Oh.
it was an accident. It actually was a brand new building, and they hadn't put in the what do you call those?
The blockers?
The blockers yet, and so it went right through the front of the building, which was interesting. But that isn't a difficult customer.
Yeah, no, that's
I've
an
seen
accident.
customers throw stuff, peel out things like that, but I don't know. I think that really the topic that would interest me is how you took a difficult customer and what you did to turn them around. That's the
Right.
magic. We're in the business of collecting customers, and I know that when I was an advisor, the customers that nobody wanted to deal with, when the customer pulls in and all the advisors disappear or
And
on
they
the
get
phone,
on their phones,
yeah,
put their
they're all
heads down, or they
they're
go
all
to the
invisible.
bathroom. Yeah.
That's the customer I learned very early on that you want, because they become the most loyal. They're a little more work
Right.
in the beginning and they're a pain in the ass, but if you can get control of them, and they know nobody likes dealing with them, they come in and they're like, I know I complain a lot, but the thing is it's still rattling again, and you actually oh, I'm so sorry, and there's a system on how to turn them around. They end up being the customers that do everything you say, throw you the keys,
Right.
and will only ask for you because nobody else would pay attention to them. So I look at difficult customers different than I think the spirit of that question is. It's a chance to have a really loyal customer. And, we come from an environment, you worked at Nordstrom's and the dealership where we met and we worked together, where we just didn't say no to customers.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't. The customer was always right. And maybe we gave a little bit too much away, but at the end of the day, our reputation was bigger than whatever you wrote off the policy. It was
That was
more
fun.
important to have friends, and, customers' perception is the most important thing. There's that Maya Angelou quote that says, they'll forget what you did, they'll forget what you said, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. So
Right.
difficult customers are an opportunity more than anything else.
Right.
What's the next question?
You ready for the next question? The next question is from Ryan Sigmund, and it's a little bit long, so just stay with me. Since I started this job, I've noticed it's very difficult to take veteran advisors in a new direction. Stop.
I'm falling asleep.
No, you're not. That's so
Get to the
mean.
point, Ryan.
They seem so entrenched. Wait, did you hear the first part? Do I need to say it again?
No, I'm with you. Go ahead.
Uh-huh. We're talking
Somewhere in here's a question.
veteran advisors in a new direction. They seem so entrenched and comfortable in their ways that they fight change at every step. Oh, this is a good question for Chris. Even though they're fighting against themselves better and making themselves better at their jobs, which ultimately makes them more money, I refuse to believe that they're all untrainable. I don't want to give up on anyone. Here's the question. Are you ready?
Yeah, there's a lot of statement.
A lot of
People
statement.
on social media are narcissistic. They make a statement, and now here comes the question.
Chris, how do you motivate a veteran advisor that doesn't want to change?
Okay, so here's what I spent a lot of the beginning of my career trying to do.
Change advisors?
Change people that didn't want to be changed. Then one day I'm like, hey, maybe, how when you hire a new advisor that doesn't know better and they outperform everybody?
Uh-huh.
Kind of like
On
that
accident?
advisor in the comp that just came in and is
Right.
beating hundreds of advisors because they don't know any better. And granted, in our comp, there's advisors in towns going, oh, I can't beat somebody in Canada because,
It's different
they
there.
have snow in Canada
Right.
and that makes their labor
And everybody's
different.
nice
or something.
in Canada.
Yeah. customers are nice in Canada. So there's a million excuses, but the thing that I have learned is that sometimes you can't change people that don't want to be changed. Like there's that saying that sometimes the wolf is the wolf.
Right.
Like, and so I have a system. We have a system with training advisors, gamification, putting structure in place that makes the advisor's job easy, makes it so they can spend more time with customers. But then after all that, it's up to the advisor to perform. And you're going to have a hard time as a manager changing people that don't want to be changed. So my advice would be to ask a different question. That's maybe not the right question to ask, because if people don't want to be changed, you can't change them, or you'll spend your lifetime doing it, and at the end they'll hate you. I mean, really, if people don't want to be changed and you change them, they're bitter at you anyways because they didn't want to change. So you changed them, you forced them into changing, but that isn't who they are. They don't want to be that person. They don't want to be a high performer.
But sometimes on the flip side of that, I've seen us go into stores, you specifically. I remember when we did those stores in Chicago, some of the veteran advisors weren't all that excited about change, and they got won over by the games and the fun.
But there's more to that story, right? They weren't that excited about change because the change that had happened before we got there, every change was to cut back and make their jobs harder.
Right.
And so
they were buried.
You're taking away cashiers because the service department's losing money. You're cutting, we're not doing car washes anymore. You're taking away all the things, and now all of a sudden they got to pull up cars because we got rid of porters. And so what we did is there was change. Like we're making them connect with customers. We're making them follow up. We're making them do 2-hour calls. We're making them do things that are important to the customer experience. But we're also, those veteran advisors, they appreciate the fact that we're taking away that they have to pull up their own cars, or that we're not going to wash a car for a customer. Whatever it is, we're going to create an environment where their job as an advisor is to make friends with the customer and make the process easier. I mean, you think about in the early days of our industry, customers would pull into the shop and talk right directly with the tech. And then we've added this layer of advisors, right? And so the layer of advisors is to make the process better, not to keep it the same. And if we could sell more by having customers choose on an iPad, or customers drive right in the shop and talk to the tech, what do we need this huge layer of personnel for, right? And so I think in those situations, the fact of the matter is the advisors were scared of change because all of the change they'd had up until that point was negative and made their jobs harder. And so, people by nature are scared of change, but you kind of have to trick them into it. So we use gamification to trick them into it. But at the end of all that, they have to perform. I'm not trying to change them. I'm trying to create an environment. So I'll change the environment. I'll make the environment where it supports them, where it supports the customer experience. But at the end of the day, they have to show up and do it, and they have to show up and perform their job. And so if you have the systems in place, if it's set up for the advisors to succeed and they're not succeeding and performing, you can't change them. They'll hate you in the end for changing them anyways.
Right.
They don't want to be changed.
It's part of
They're probably better doing something else, like being an insurance adjuster.
We have one more question.
Okay. Do you want to talk about why I'm your sugar daddy?
Let's do that. Yeah.
Okay. So, are any of your friends that ask this single, that wonder why I'm buying you a car?
Sometimes.
And
it's
shoes?
like everybody. I'll run into someone
so
from high
this is
school.
going to hurt your dating, right? Because when guys find out that you have
It already has.
you spend more on shoes than most guys would spend on clothes in a year, and it's one pair of shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it already has. It has impacted my dating life, and they're like, "Well, I can't keep up with Chris.
Yeah.
I can't buy you Louboutins."
Right.
But
what is at the heart of all this?
Well, I think I get questions more so like from like people that I'll see from high school, and they're like, what are you doing? Who's this guy? And why is he buying you all this stuff? I mean, I've got pictures posted when you bought me a car. That was fun.
But I didn't really buy you a car. You earned a car.
I did. I earned a car. That was fun.
The perception is that I bought you a car, but the truth is we had a bet, and the car was a bonus for you hitting certain benchmarks.
Right.
And so you won and I won.
We were all winning.
We were all winning in that situation, right? So the same thing with the shoes. We had a goal. You hit the goal, and so then I buy you the shoes, or I don't remember what the bet was for that cool blue Louis Vuitton bag.
Oh, that was
That isn't even
fun.
a purse. That's a bag.
Yeah, that was
Do you,
it's
do you
beautiful.
still use that thing?
Absolutely.
Or did you wear it out?
No, I did, but I went to Louis Vuitton at Neiman Marcus and they restored it for me.
They did?
Shout out to Fashion Island, and they didn't charge me. It was
Why would they
awesome.
charge you? That stuff
I know.
should last forever.
That was fun,
how
but I think
expensive it is.
that was when we were trying to grow the coaching group. That was a long time ago. That was
Yeah.
fun, and I'll never forget the day because you made me take a picture of it. We were in New York when we picked it out.
Oh, that's right. We were in New York. We were working in New Jersey, but on the weekends we'd go into New York. We went into, I think it was a Saks or a
It
Barney's.
was Saks, yeah. Well, we went everywhere looking for the bag. 'cause-
And you had a bag you thought you liked, but I'd seen that one online, and I was texting it
Yep.
to you and kind of teasing you with it. Then we saw it. When you saw it in person, you were like, "You were right,"
Yeah.
and I'm always right, by the way,
Always.
everybody. And then when we got home, we established the bet when we were there. When we got home, it took you a couple months, and then
did.
I remember too. It was a couple months, and I said, "I'm pulling the bag off the table. You haven't hit it," and then you hit it. So nobody knows the story about how to take it away and all the drama behind the scenes. They just see you post on social media.
Nobody knows that I
an
was actually
expensive
going
bag.
to Louis Vuitton and trying it on.
Well, that's good though, because that's
Yeah.
visualization. You're putting yourself in.
And then I couldn't decide what color blue. It was a whole thing. It was very
Yeah.
psychological. But that's gamification.
Yeah. And so those things that people think I'm your sugar daddy really are benchmarks or numbers or goals that you hit that we had those prizes picked out for a while.
Yeah.
It isn't like an overnight thing. It's something that you
I
obtained over time.
I think I need a new bet.
Okay. What do you want the bet to be?
Well, I want another car. I had to turn in the BMW. I missed my convertible.
Okay. What kind of car do you want?
Well, I want another convertible because summer's coming and I don't know if I have enough time to earn it before summer. Maybe not. But I mean, I probably should get a Tesla because of the commute.
But they don't make a convertible.
They don't. So I think I want another BMW.
I love how you go to practical for a second. You're like, just for a second.
That car was so fun.
Okay, well, we can talk off air what those numbers would be, but they'd be a lot bigger than what we're doing right now.
Yeah. So people, can you call in if you need help in your service department?
Sylvia needs
Call
customers.
Sylvia.
Okay, so that do you
Sugar
think any of
daddy.
your friends will listen to this?
I'm sure. Yeah.
Okay, good.
So I just want to clarify that you're not my sugar daddy. I'm maybe work husband. I don't know.
I don't know. I kind of have a new work wife. You haven't really been putting out at work the way that you should.
That is so messed up. No. Where is Mama Bear right now? Oh, she's
in
on
Hawaii
She's
with
in
her
Hawaii.
family.
And just because she buys you snacks that you like
She takes such good
when
care
you
of me.
travel.
Yeah, you never did that when you were in charge.
Oh,
of
where do
the
you think she
office.
got the idea of putting the Essentia in your hotel room?
From me?
No, from me.
No, that was from me.
No, from me. You
Okay,
don't know what the water
nobody
was
cares
before.
about us arguing about this. But we're like, let's say that we what's that show where you have more than one wife?
Sister wives?
Yeah, like you're low on the. Is there like a hierarchy of
That
wives?
really sucks.
Mama Bear has a lot of control around here. We can't.
She does. She does buy you
diminish
good
that.
snacks and she keeps this place
But
going.
for everybody listening, when I go speak somewhere or whatever, she always has a bag in my hotel room of my favorite bottled water and low carb.
And then you call me.
snacks.
Oh, you should see the snacks
It's a nice
that
touch,
Patricia
though.
has
I was thinking we
here.
should do that for our coaches. It's like a cheap
Oh.
thing, but it means a lot. Like when you're on the road and you go to a hotel,
Yeah.
the hardest thing is like water.
Water.
Like I drink a lot of water. And so we should do that for our coaches when they go different,
Just have
to work
care
in dealerships.
packages.
Yeah, just send
Mhm.
it to the hotel. It's easy, but it makes a huge difference because then you don't have to worry about it.
and the hotel will do it for you too, because a lot of the coaches are staying in the same markets and the same hotels all the time. So,
Yeah, there you go. My new work wife.
Mama Bear, there's something else for you to
We're
do for Chris.
divorced.
That sucks.
Okay, what's your last question?
Okay, this one's kind of tough. So this came in from LinkedIn recently in the last couple days. And it says must
Is
change
this a crazy question?
must change names and places. This is probably the hardest statement / question / I don't know what.
Do we need to do
But
a
let me
shot of
try
tequila
to
before this?
change some of these names because I know both of these dealers and they don't want their names talked about. Okay. And we've worked with one of these dealers before. I could use some advice from you guys. I've been in the business for 14 years now. I was a Dodge Master Tech for 10. I left blank Dodge in New York because they wouldn't let me be an advisor or dispatcher. I moved on to another dealership, a BMW dealership in New York, pretty well known. Turned great numbers, 1.4 million in sales, 2.6 CP hours per RO, and 98.7 ELR. Ranked as high as 7 overall in the company, and it's a pretty big dealer group. I wanted to pursue management, so I took a transfer to parts supervisor at one of the collision centers in the same large dealer group. Turns out my pay was cut in half, and the bonus structure is not reachable off of parts gross. I can't transfer because my old spot's already been filled. I'm not sure what else to do. Thanks for listening.
Sucks to be you.
Christopher Michael.
Well, I mean, yeah, you got yourself in a situation, so you learned something.
Yeah.
I'd like to ask this person, what is their name?
We've
you're
left it out on purpose. Yeah.
Okay. Chuck, I'd like to ask you a question. What did you learn? Like, there's nothing wrong with what you did. Like, you're trying to make a move up, and in moving up and in getting better, things aren't always going to go right. And you're not entitled to everything to line up perfectly like you dreamed or imagined that it would be. So what are you going to do now?
Mm-hmm. What's next?
And the thing that worries me in there is he says something about they're unreachable. Really? They're unreachable? Your goals are unreachable? Really?
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure somebody's hitting those goals. Somewhere in America, somebody's hitting those. Nobody just randomly shot at the side of a barn and said, here's the goal, right? And so, maybe the problem is inside you and you need to figure out how to hit those goals. Like, figure it out.
Right.
Like, you're in a situation now, either move or figure out how to thrive and survive where you're at.
And what did you learn?
Yeah, what did you learn? It isn't always going to be perfect, but I would encourage you to really step back and listen to the language and the way you're framing things. That they're impossible to hit. I don't know about that. You just haven't figured out how to do it. Mm-hmm. Why don't you figure out how to do it? Why don't you, give yourself 6 months, give it everything you got, go out and hang out with some people that are doing it. That's another thing in our industry is you're stuck in your little dealer group, in your little world. Why don't you ask the insurance companies, hey, who is hitting these numbers? And go hang out with them. Go take them to lunch. How are they doing it, right?
Mm-hmm. Go shadow someone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the idea. We were trying to figure out something yesterday when we were doing Business Outlaws, and there's a thing, about pre-production or whatever that we didn't quite understand. And we're like, well, Howard Stern does it really well. And we're like, well, how do we hire somebody from Howard Stern to come out and teach us how to do it? We're not going to sit around and just pretend. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So why don't you go hang out with some people that are hitting those numbers and figure it out? Stop feeling sorry for yourself. And, if you're in that situation, then figure it out. You got yourself in that little pickle. Before you give up on it, what's the lesson?
Right.
Have you really done everything you can to hit those numbers and thrive? You took the cut and pay. You wanted to move up in management. Now be a leader.
Right.
Raise your hand and say, I'm going to lead. I'm going to figure this out. And if you're doing a good job and you go out and you find out from other people how they're hitting those goals and you put systems in place and you try to change what's going on in your department. Currently, I don't think there's a dealer group or dealer out there that isn't going to recognize your talent and your effort. And, those things might become negotiable, but they're not negotiable if you're not giving it your best shot. If you're defeated and giving up before you even started, then, well, you get what you get.
Got it.
So, Chuck, go hang out with some people that are hitting it. But I'm positive that whatever those goals aren't unobtainable. No. They're just unobtainable in your mind because you haven't decided that you could do it. You haven't changed the movie in your head. You got a lot of mind trash going on.
Fantastic.
Did I get too excited about that?
No.
Okay. Are we going to talk off air about our bet?
Yeah.
About a car?
Yeah.
And so we're not going with practical. You don't want a Toyota or a Tesla. You want
No. I have BMW. Practical. I have the mom car.
Okay. So
Chevy
a BMW.
Tahoe. Yeah. Did the 4 last time. I'm thinking maybe the 6 this time. I don't know. It's your budget.
Well, it's your number. The number you got to hit's higher.
have a
You
four
can have a convertible Lambo at a certain number. It's just built in. You can
people need help,
email at
if people need
Sylvia
help,
at chriscollinsinc.com. There you go. That's better.
People need help. Give me a call and get you
Big
some
Stops is the future. Well, thanks everybody for listening to Service Drive Revolution. Thank you, Miss Sylvia, for being on here playing Vanna.
Thank you for having me.
You did great. Do you feel good?
Yeah, I do. I was really nervous.
Yeah, it's easy.
I know. It's just like talking to you.
And then one thing, I was texting Gary. Everybody wants to know about Gary's cholesterol, and I think the news is on that it hasn't changed.
Poor Gary.
I said, Gary, people are asking about your cholesterol. I don't think it's changed.
Oh, G-Man.
But why would it change?
Cheeseburgers and French fries, G-Man.
Yeah, chili fries. So sending our love to G-Man, but yeah,
We
I
love
think
you, G.
He's still a walking heart attack.
Poor guy.
It's fun.
Okay.
Cool. Thanks
Thank you.
everybody. We'll see you again next time.
Have a great day.